So today's event is sponsored by three different organizations. So one is our TCFA, California chapters. Another is 海纳百川创业平台, it's a startup platform. Another one is 古语书院. So I'd like to, first of all, have them to introduce themselves a little bit. So let's first of all introduce our TCFA co-chair, Cindy, to give her a chance to tell us more about what is TCFA
California chapter. We have our own sort of special things that we are very proud of. We're in Silicon Valley, we're close to San Francisco. So I think finance and technologies are, I would say, something very special about Silicon Valley and San Francisco Bay Area in general. And another fact I would like to share is that for the past maybe 10 years or more than 10 years, a lot of the senior member of TCFA people actually went back to China, so they become overseas, just like our main speaker today, Dr. Jim Wang. So they kind of been here for so long, 20 years, 30 years of experience working in US. Educated here, worked in all main big firms, and China just started developing the financial sector maybe starting 10 years ago. So they recruit a lot of the senior members from US. So our 10 past presidents actually all now oversee returnees to China, working sort of the top 5 funds, sovereign funds, whatever the industry's infrastructure. So we're very proud that TCFA actually has all these members build up the infrastructure in China's new modern finance industry. So this is a part of the history. And I also like to talk about our California chapter. We've been very active maybe a few years ago, and we have seminars, educational events like this and social events. But this year, Yu Ying and I we're co-chairing this chapter, and we wanted to kind of put an effort to revive this. This year we already had like 4 events. 2 are social, 2 are academic slash professional, educational. Today is our second quarter's event. So we made this sort of planning. We wanted to do a quarterly series event, and we kind of also responded to members' ideas, that if they have ideas about social events. And so we did a very successful one in the winery in Spain. People are very happy. So I hope that just a little bit of introduction about our TCFA California chapter, and we welcome all of you join us, participating, and contributed to the success of the organization. It's volunteer-based. We all volunteer our time and hours into this, and very proud that we have a great team. So our community members are, I think, 12 people, and each of them specialize in one of the area. For instance, Lele is our sponsorship, and we also have the webmaster. We have the PR, which is our very important piano event, and we also have advisory recruiting. So if you have any ideas, feel free to talk to whoever that is in this room. And finally, we also have a website, TCFA/CA.org. We're very proud of all of us who worked so hard just most recently, a couple of days, and it looks actually pretty good. Check it out, and we will have lots of information gradually added on. Okay, so that's about TCFA.
Valley was founded in March in 2015, so about 2 years ago. And originally, we founded that because we think Silicon Valley is full of engineers, but then people are sort of like, we don't really have cultural communication, reading books. So we think that we want to attract people who like to reading, and then to do some culture and communication between the majority of engineers. So then every Sunday afternoon we host a book reading event. So actually we either invited some speakers to share a book, And actually, the location that normally in Sophia University normally is the 1059B, so next door. So and then it's been 2 years, and every Sunday we get united, and also we also organize some outdoor activities, and then Mr. Taupo is always there to help everyone. So if you have any questions about Valorant, you can either ask him or Kelly in the back. Thank you.
Whether you have a bias on the FinTech, or you don't have a bias, or maybe you have a other kind of bias, just from your background.
Bias means positive, negative, neutral.
Yeah.
What do you mean by other biases?
Maybe you have a phobia on tech. You know, that could be a bias. So I would like to see each of you identify yourself. How do you identify yourself?
I'm neutral. I'm actually working in both technology and financial industry. So I kind of for anything against the human whatever development in economy, in technology. I think it's all good. Exchange of ideas, merge of two different sectors. I think it's always great. That's how the society go advance and technology evolves and help the life. That's my kind of vision.
I'm very positive on it. I'm not accepting it with no doubt. I actually doubted more, but I know this is the future. I need to incorporate it and embrace it. But I do see whatever happening in front of me. The first thing I would ask a question mark, because I'm not accepting it for just anything it pop up.
It's interesting to get such a reaction because we thought we are the forefront of this technology within the investment industry. If anything, Quant will be the first batch of people taking on all of these things. It is what is happening in our industry. Quant will be the first batch of person sort of accepting, embrace all of these ideas. But as Yuying said, the way we get trained is everything we have a question, everything we have to challenge all the assumptions, everything we have to evaluate the consistency, efficacy, all of these things. So all the machine learning, all the AI, they also come with error. How big is that error? As an investor, as a sort of a researcher, we always questioning about how big that error could be, because that will hurt investment. I mean, from an investment perspective, from our investors' perspective, upside versus downside, downside is much bigger than upside. They don't want a downside, because downside you lose principal. You down half, 50%, it takes you 100% to come back. So the risk aversion is in nature, in all of our views on many different things. Sometimes, trickles into our life, a regular life view of the world as well. So that's sort of my perspective on this.
I really appreciate the risk word from Chris. I think for being an investor or a portfolio manager, so we're not only alpha like a person, we play offense for sure. That's how you make money. But to become a successful or good manager, portfolio manager or investor, you have to play defense. You need to control your risk. So that reminds me some joke like a few years ago. I just a social event, not only finance people but also other people, and then someone told me every finance people I met, they have one word on their face. I was like, what is a word? And I thought, is it aggressive or alpha or what is the word? And then he said, risk. Everyone. So the first thing, he said, every finance, either you're from a commercial bank, an investment bank, or investors, risk is definitely on top of our mind. So that is something that made me hesitate to accept
whatever pop up and ask me to trade. I know it's good, it's new. So, but unlike the tech company, like if they have a social media and they put on big data or machine learning algorithm, and the worst thing they lost is basically they lost some user or they lost some clicks. But we lost hundreds of dollars, thousands of or millions of dollars. It could happen. So so this is where the fiduciary duty comes in. So we have fiduciary duty for investors. So we need to protect our investors' best interest. So that's why I said in the early of the conversation, I think the innovation will come, but the speed of introduction is going to be slow, not as much as the newspaper or other traditional industries.
So apparently I have spent like 4 years building this FinTech company. No doubt I am supporter of the FinTech future. I would think it probably differently from a traditional view. You know, just like with the Industrial Revolution, and when you were asked what do you want to use technology to build, right? People will probably answer, say, okay, I want a faster horse ride, a horse pulling, wagon. But it turned out it's not horse pulling anymore, right? It's cars, trains, airplanes, even faster, traveling tools. So it's kind of like, the mindset change from industrial age to the information era. The data gonna be a huge number in the future. You can imagine there are so many information gonna be generated by devices, human being, and so on. If you still think as a human being, you can, handle this kind of information and extract the alpha by building a lot of models out of that, then probably it's going to be a very challenging work. If you use a machine to do this stuff, extract information, process information, definitely there is a chance you can, process it. And one side, there are so many information, it could be overloaded. Another thing is also good, because the researcher traditionally only can be like grasp part of the information of the truth. Now, potentially with the IoT, with the social network and so on, you can have a more broader information source for you to handle, to process. I would think in the future, it's not like a fast-running horse wagon. It's probably going to be something different from the framework we're getting used to. We're probably going to think about, in the future, it's not about what we think financial world is going to be like. It will be something different even. So that's my view. We already, the financial industry has evolved from the traditional, like the physical versus physical, with the, old coin, right? For the monetary. Now we have the bills. In the future, now we have Bitcoins. So that's going to be something new, with the Bitcoin market going from, right now I think it's 3,000 or something. What's the price right now? I know the market is roughly like 80 billion size already. That could be growing trend. But in the future, probably we are using this kind of digital money for our financial transaction. That could be a fundamental change for our system as well.